Example 5. Abandoned by parents as a baby in the cradle. Imagine the following situation. The parents have a baby who is about 5 months old. It has now been sleeping regularly for 5 weeks from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. in the morning. The parents have always been with the child as soon as it cried and have lovingly cared for the baby. The parents can sleep more again and are happy about the possibility to go dancing for a short time in the evening. The parents dare to go dancing for 2 hours at 10. The parents have been out of the house for 10 minutes. The baby wakes up and calls for its parents. They are usually there immediately, but not this time. The baby calls louder and louder. It starts to scream, but nothing happens. The baby is instinctively afraid. It is at the mercy of the situation and completely powerless. It does not know why the parents do not come. It feels left alone. It cries and struggles in fear and panic for almost 2 hours until it is completely exhausted. Its little heart is also not used to the strain and gives the baby an additional physical strain from which it recoils. Out of exhaustion, the baby then falls asleep. After 3 hours, the parents return home and see their baby sleeping peacefully. For the parents, everything went well. They didn't notice anything. For the baby, it was a situation that is classified by its subconscious as potentially life-threatening. The baby's subconscious must ensure that this situation never happens again. Every child up to the age of about 5, 6 years thinks that it has done something wrong if its parents are angry with it. It always looks for its own fault first. This is also based on our developmental history. Children learn from their parents how to behave in life so that they survive. The behavioral patterns are copied. If the parents punish them, then they themselves have done something wrong. The parents' actions are usually considered right during this period. The baby will also unconsciously blame itself for being left alone. It must have done something wrong because the parents reacted that way. To avoid a similar situation in the future, the baby's subconscious will make sure that the baby adapts better to the parents' wishes. The baby has also felt helplessly at the mercy of the situation. The baby's subconscious will also learn from this and try to avoid similar situations in the future. From my experience, people who have experienced such a situation tend to develop the following patterns of action. You like to take things into your own hands. You like to have control over yourself and over every situation. You need the feeling of freedom, the feeling of being able to decide for yourself. You pay more attention to the wishes of others than to your own wishes. If others are doing well, then I am doing well. You do not want to give anyone a reason to leave you. Brief summary. The parents have a 5-month-old baby who has been sleeping regularly for 5 weeks. The parents have always looked after the baby lovingly and have been there immediately when the baby has cried. The parents go out dancing and leave the baby alone at home. The baby wakes up, calls for the parents, and gets no answer. The baby panics, cries, and struggles for almost 2 hours. The baby is completely exhausted and falls asleep when the parents come home. The parents notice nothing and think everything went well. The baby feels left alone and is exposed to a stressful situation. The baby perceived the situation of being left alone as life-threatening and will unconsciously make sure it never happens again. Children often blame themselves when punished up to the age of 5 to 6 years, as they learn from their parents how to survive in life and consider their parents' actions as right. The baby will unconsciously blame itself for being left alone and try to adapt better to the parents' wishes in the future. People who have experienced similar situations tend to retain control over their actions and situations, need the feeling of freedom and focus more on the wishes of others than on their own wishes.